So I'm going to create a new folder, unit 3. And go ahead and create the other folder, the JavaScript folder, JS. We're also going to create a CSS folder, so we want to style it, right? So CSS. So I think what we want to do is we want to create a the kind of similar to one in the book, one input tag to read the input, and then we have a button to add that content, whatever it is, enter in the input to a list of items. So kind of similar to what we did last time, to a list of LIs, and we will try to kind of make it look like a yellow sticky or something like that. So we need a CSS to style it, right? And we'll add that to the list right below the button in the input. Okay, using JavaScript. So everything will be done dynamically. So go ahead and create your HTML. I'm just gonna call this maybe events, since it's about events. In my JS folder, create a JavaScript file called events as well. Maybe events, they're all kind of related. It's just a .js, and we'll do the same thing with CSS, right? So under the CSS, right click and then new style sheet and just put events. So they're all similar. So I have 3 files. And I'm gonna turn this off over here. All right. So the title is gonna be just events. So we want to include the style sheet in here, right? So style sheet, how do we add that in here? Is it off screen? Can you guys see it? It's off screen, huh? Okay, that's not good. Well, let me put this back in here then. Is it better? Strange. Okay, so there'll be a link, right? Link, and then href. It's in the CSS folder. We call events.css. And then rel, right, rel, and this will be like style sheet. I think that's all, right? That's linking to our external style sheet. And then we also want to link to the script. So script src js/events.js. Okay, so I linked both my files. Okay, so we're going to put an input tag in here, right? Input, we'll give it an ID. I guess we'll just call it input again. Okay. And then right next to the input we have a button. Give it an ID as well. I just call it button also. Just easier. And then we'll just say add to list. And our list will be right below here. So we're going to add it to the UL, just like last time. I'll give an ID. We'll call this, I guess, sticky, right? And that is all just the placeholder. We'll add all the we'll populate this with all the list items as we add read those inputs. that's it for now. Let's just see. Let's save this and run this. See what it looks like. Gonna put it here. Let me do this. Okay, so we have the button there. Kind of small, but make it a little bit bigger. I'll zoom in. So we have something here. We add some stuff here, and then we click Add to List, and then it will populate the list below that. Right? I mean, just to have fun with this, we're gonna why don't we style, you know, the input and the button as well to make it a little prettier. So we have the ID of input and button, right? So let's go to our events CSS, and let's style the input. What do we put? I'm gonna make it be a background color of yellow. I don't know, yellow, go to pink. Magenta. Oh, that's hard to read. No, not magenta. Let's go yellow. It's okay, right? Yellow for that, and then we'll add a padding, maybe 5. We'll add some height to it. Just say, I don't know, 20, something like that, right? And then we also want to style the button. Instead of just this plain old gray button, we could change the color also. Make it a little bit nice. And we'll use maybe dark blue, I guess. You can pick whatever color you want, doesn't matter. No. I have to go look for an image, Tom. We'll put a border around that. We'll put the border to be just 1 pixel solid, and we use the magenta. Okay, Tom? Is that good? Okay. All right. So let's see. Ooh, that's not good.
Ooh.
But at least we got that. This is pretty big. Well, I mean, I zoomed in, so pretty big. But the button is hard to read, so this color is not good. You know what? We just put.
Light.
Let's see what light blue looks like. Yeah, it's much better. Light blue looks good. And we don't want to make the height as big as this as well. So we'll copy this. I'll make the height at 20 as well. So they kind of match. Didn't do it. Well,
I just changed the, like, if you wanted to make it a really dark color for the input and the button, you could change the color of the text to light.
mm-hmm.
So that's what I
Oh, the button here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. That's good. Yeah, you could do that. My head doesn't work, so I'll just leave it as is. Maybe I'll put like in here padding. Okay, so I put padding here, maybe 10. So we have, I guess, good enough. So I'll put padding 10, and that's it, right? I'm good to go. This is pretty small. You can also change the text to a larger size if you want, but that's okay. Okay, so that's good for now. So why don't we go back to our script, and we're gonna create this. So again, we have to target 3 tags: the ID input for the button, and also the sticky. So everything starts with the button here. This is an event, right? When I attach the event, click event to this button here, so that when you click it, it's gonna read the data from the input tag, and then we'll populate that into the sticky list, right? And we want to wait until the whole DOM tree is loaded Otherwise, when you target the button, it's not found, right? So we want to put the unload in here. So we'll have the window unload. We're just going to use the anonymous function, so we don't have to create a function in here, just the anonymous. So when we load this site, when everything's loaded, then we want to target the button. And I'll just call it button is equal to document.getElements by ID, right? And we just call it button, which is very easy for us to remember. So that's the object now, and then you want to add the event to it. So there are two ways to do it, right? Well, the other ways was we could, put it in here, the inline style, which we don't want to do that. We could do in here, we can do two ways. One is button.onClick, right? Equals, we have a function here. That's one way. The other way is we do add event listener, like that. And then we have the event here, and then the function here, and then we have so whatever it is here, and then we have another one for the false, for capturing stuff. So which way do you want to do? Well, okay. So we do just the click, okay? This is synonymous to button.onClick, okay? Equals a function call. Maybe we'll show it here, like what do we do? Add to list, something like that. Okay. So the function will be called add to list, and then the third parameter just put false. It just means that we want to make sure it doesn't call. It's based on the capturing stuff. I put a video on the other class. You can kind of see it how things bubble up and bubble down based on the different layers of the web page. Okay, so now the function here can be inside the unload, or it could be outside. So we're just going to put outside here because it doesn't really matter, because it only runs when we call it. But this part needs to be inside the unload, because otherwise this button will not be discovered, right? So once that is done, then we can go outside here and we'll write a function for the add to list. Make sure your spelling match. So when I call this function, then now we're going to move into the second part. That is, we're going to read the data from this input box first, and then we're going to add it to the list down here. So we have to target that input box. So the first thing is the input, right? I call it input. Call it anything you want, it's fine. We use the ID because that's what we put in there. Get element by ID. Right here. And the ID is just input. Okay, I'm not getting the value yet. I'm not going to target this for now. You could just put dot value and then you get the value right away, but we'll do that in a separate statement. So read the input, we targeted input, and then we also want to target this sticky down here, right? So we also have a I call it what, sticky? Okay. Document.getElements by ID, and this is sticky. Okay. Now instead of just putting the li like we did last time in a string, I'm going to use the create element method to do that. I think we did it once last time, but let's do it this time. So there's no no text involved. We'll read the data from the input, and then we'll create a li. Okay, this is the li for each of this list, This would be the document.create element. Okay, what element is it going to be called? It's called li, so put that in there in this as a string. And then again, this will generate this for us automatically. Okay, so that's been generated, created. It's floating in space somewhere. And then you're right. And then the text is gonna go inside here. Okay, so this is also a node. So we need to also create a text node. So document.create text node. Okay, and this text node is going to be the content of the input here. So it's going to be the input dot value, right? Because the input itself is just a tag, but if you read the input, the actual value in the input box, you need to get the dot value, not dot inner HTML. It's different, right? So now we have the text, which is this case, this guy right here, but we have to attach it to the li. In this case, right now, this is just the text, whatever that text is. So they have two separate nodes floating around. So we need to attach this to the li, and that is by doing this way. So li.append child. Okay. So you can see child needs to have a node inside it. So that's why the text is in here. So the text has to be a node. You cannot put like li in. You cannot put strings in here. It has to be a node type. That's why you have to use this create text node to put it in here. Okay, so make sure it's the actual node name. So we add that to the list. So now li looks like this. Whatever that text is. Now we have that floating around in space. And then we need to put this inside here, right? So that's why we have to say sticky, because sticky points to the UL, right? We do the same. We're going to do append child. We append the li, which we just created here. We're going to append this inside, add this to the list. So every time we click the button, you click on it, it goes in here. It's going to add this event, click, calls this function called add to list, goes in here, reads the input, okay, it locates this sticky UL, creates a new li, creates a text node. This text node will hold the content of the actual text here, and then we append the text to the li. So now the content is wrapped inside here, and then we attach the whole thing to the sticky, to the append child here. Okay? And then we're done. And then we'll do it again, keep adding that to the list. Because we're appending that, append means we're adding to the bottom or to the end of the list every time. Well, that's our expectations. Let's run this file, save it, and then go back to the browser and refresh and then see if this works. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, we'll fix it. So I put here car. So we have card there. And we have like spaceship or something. There, right? It's working. So we just need to style these LIs to make it pretty, right? We want to remove the dots here. We don't want those. And a yellow sticky, so it should have a yellow background around each of these objects, right? And this is just all CSS. So let's update our CSS. We got those two here. Down here, so how do we do this? How do we target this so that they have a nice yellow background? Maybe we'll add some shadow to it to make it look like almost like a yellow sticky. Mm. Input? No, not input. This, yeah, this is the li, right? So if you, right, so this guy here is, as you can see, it's down here. So we have to target the li's and the ul down here, right? So we can style this, and we also need to style the li's. So over here, we call it sticky, right? Sticky ID. So I guess we could target that sticky. Well, the sticky, we want to remove the dots, and to do that, you do at the sticky level, at the URL level. Then we'll just say the list type. Is it list type or list style? List style type. List style type, right? And we just want to say none. Okay. You don't want that to be and they can save that and go back here and then refresh and then do, make sure that's, so we remove the dots. Okay, as you can see, it's working as expected. It's good. Now we need to style the li. So how do you do that? I mean, you could just do li because we have one, but let's assume that what if there are like so many li's and we only want to target a certain place, right? Only to the sticky part. So instead of that, you would say sticky and then li. This means the child or descendant of that sticky. If you want the direct link to it, then you have that relationship. It's the parent-child. If you take that out, then it's a parent to descendant. It could be as many layered down as, there's no limit to that. So we'll just leave that as is. So the descendant. We want this li to have a, you know what, instead of going down this column, why don't we have like go into row-wise? Or column-wise, we'll call it. So we want to do the display to, I guess, inline, right? Or inline block. So it will go horizontally. What else? You want to have a board, well, maybe not border, but maybe a background of yellow, just like that one up there. So background color, yellow. And you can actually randomize this in JavaScript if you want to have different color background. But for now, it just is yellow. You want to have maybe like some padding in there. Would use like maybe, I don't know, 10, maybe too big. It's 5px. What else do we want?
Font color.
Font color. You don't like just color. You don't like black? I can call it dark blue. How's that? Okay. And then I also want to have a shadow, so the box shadow. Don't use the WebKit, just the box shadow. It may add 3 or 4 different types, but just delete the other ones and just keep the box shadow. And we want this to be so the maybe like 3 pixels, 1 for like the depth, the height, and the blur. And the color of the shadow will be just maybe just dark shadow, something like that, I guess. Alright, so save and then refresh, and we'll see what it looks like. There. Good enough? Oh, so we don't want that. We want some space in between. So we need to add some margins. Margin, we'll put 10 in here for both top and bottom, all around basically, because it's going to wrap if you add a lot of stuff to it, right? So put car, plane, okay, if I keep adding this, see it's gonna look like that. So are we good?
Yeah. I should just be perfect.
So you can see how easy we could add this to the tree here. But notice, like when I enter, for example, when I enter like car, hit add to list, right? The word car is still in here. I want to clear that every time. When I enter like cat, I hit enter, this should be gone, like that. How would we solve this? Well, remember we're
had a break. No?
no.
No.
I mean like when I enter, after I enter some data,
Right.
when I click add to list,
Yeah, you want to clear the box.
yeah, I want to clear the box, but now it's not being cleared, right? So how do we clear this box? So it will go like that. Yeah. Well, I mean, well, button clear event. Well, that'll be a separate button. But what we want to do is like when you click add to list, it's gonna add the item, and then you want to clear this list, right? Okay. So we could do something like in the script here. When we click, we add the list, right? We read the input from this input text here, and then we'll do the whole thing here. After we're done, right down here, we're just going to go back to our target, which is the input box. So basically, we just input that value is blank, right? That's all. We wipe out the input boxes. Now it's gone. Because if you don't do that, it retains whatever was entered before. So if you move that and you save and then go back, and if I type like in cat, notice it's gone. Okay, so that's a quick way to do that. So you can clear out your input box.